Welcome to day 3 of your 7 days alcohol-free podcast series from Alcohol Tipping Point. I'm back with you, Debbie Maisner. I'm a registered nurse, health coach, and alcohol-free badass. All right, so day 3, we are going to be talking about neurotransmitters. We're going to talk about dopamine, which is the one most people are familiar with, and we'll talk about a few other ones. All right, so we live in a world where it is so easy to get a quick hit of dopamine. If you don't know what dopamine is, it's that feel good, it's the pleasure neurotransmitter. We get it when we are doing anything that causes pleasure. So it could be from drinking alcohol, it could be from your phone, it could be from eating. It can be from anything. Some people get it, obviously you get from sex, gambling, trivia. I mean, anything that makes you feel good. Dopamine is involved in that. And so what happens is drinking alcohol causes a much more intense rush of dopamine compared to eating Oreos. And the drinking is such a rush that it leaves you wanting more. And so that's the concern. So when you're artificially increasing your dopamine from drinking, it can actually backfire and lead to less dopamine overall. So your brain's going to reduce the production of dopamine if a drug or alcohol is artificially recreating the effects of dopamine. So this is what leads you to wanting more alcohol to get that same effect, also known as tolerance. All right, so why is this a concern? Dopamine's one of many transmitters in our body, and it not only provides pleasure, like we talked about, but it helps us think, plan, focus, and just find things interesting. And it's also involved in many of our body functions like blood flow, digestion, heart and kidney function, motor control, pain processing, sleep, and the stress response. So dopamine is super important. When you stop drinking, your dopamine and other transmitters when you stop drinking, your dopamine and other transmitter levels can be much lower, and that can lead to feelings of depression and anxiety. And it can take some time for dopamine levels to return to normal after abstaining from alcohol. Many medical professionals think that maybe 90 days is a general estimate for dopamine recovery. It really depends on how much you've been drinking and what's going on with that. Some people will feel fine, but it really helps explain why we feel so shitty when we quit drinking. It's normal. It's just our body is readjusting. And it's not just dopamine that is affected. Excuse me. It's also GABA and serotonin. So those are 2 other neurotransmitters that are affected by drinking. So let's talk a little bit about GABA. So that's gamma aminobutyric acid. That's why we just call it GABA for short. So that's associated with a positive mood, restful sleep, decreased muscle tension, stress, and anxiety. So when you drink, you're depleting your GABA, and then that leads to GABA withdrawal. And so when you're going through that GABA withdrawal, in other words, when you stop drinking, you can have some intrusive thoughts, you can have some persistent worries, you can have some other mental health symptoms. And in fact, benzodiazepines like Xanax, Klonopin, Valium, Ativan, those are the medications commonly prescribed for anxiety issues and other mental health conditions. And that's because it works on your GABA neurotransmitters. And so one of the reasons they're so effective is that they're strong GABA activators. But there are ways to naturally increase your GABA, and this is going to help you when you're taking a break from alcohol or if you've completely stopped. So these are things that you can do on your 7-day break, or if you go longer, or just in general. These are natural ways to increase GABA. Exercise. Yoga is a specific kind of exercise that helps increase GABA. Mindfulness. So that would be something like meditation. And then you can also eat foods that are rich in glutamic acid, and that helps create more GABA in the brain. And so those would be foods like citrus fruits and bananas, or certain nuts like almonds and walnuts. And then also just having vegetables like spinach. You can have potatoes. You can have broccoli, lentils. Those are all high in glutamic acid as well. More foods that help with GABA production are vegetables like spinach, potatoes, broccoli, lentils. You could also have a meal with brown rice and halibut because that has GABA as well. And so that is a wonderful way to help with your alcohol withdrawal, help you with this 7-day challenge, is just to try some of those kinds of foods. And then you can also try some supplements. That would include green tea. There's the amino acid taurine. And then magnesium, vitamin B6, and zinc supplements are also GABA stimulators. So those would be a good option for you if you are feeling things like anxiety or if you're having difficulty sleeping. Again, check with your doctor about actual dosage recommendations for those supplements. All right, let's talk about serotonin. So serotonin's another neurotransmitter. It's similar to dopamine and similar to GABA. And that's because it also helps control many ways that the body and the brain work. And serotonin's kind of an interesting one. Most people think that it's produced in the brain, but actually 90% of it is located in the gut, and it's present in our intestines and GI tract. So some of its functions are to help regulate and enhance your mood. That's serotonin. But also it helps play a role in your sleep, your stomach, intestinal, and bowel health, your sexual functioning, your bone strength and density, blood clotting and wound healing, and then again, mental health and motivation. So let's talk about some ways to increase serotonin naturally. So eating foods that boost serotonin and tryptophan. So there's an amino acid called tryptophan. It's good that we're almost here in Thanksgiving season for America because turkey is one of protein sources that contains a lot of tryptophan. And the reason why tryptophan helps boost serotonin is because it's the amino acid tryptophan converts into serotonin in the brain. So foods that contain tryptophan are poultry, like turkey and chicken, salmon, eggs. If you're vegetarian or vegan, tofu and soy products are a good source. Dairy products like milk and cheese have tryptophan. A handful of nuts or seeds is also an option for you. And then other serotonin foods, not necessarily related to tryptophan, would be pineapples, bananas, green leafy vegetables, and avocados. So those are all going to help boost your serotonin naturally. Other ways you can boost your serotonin are by getting out in sunlight and just being in nature. Avoiding sugar, although the 7 days, go ahead and have sugar. Don't worry about that. But sugar is something that can affect your serotonin levels. Get out and exercise, do meditation, get a massage. Those can all boost serotonin. All right. So just to recap, you want to naturally increase your dopamine and other neurotransmitters like serotonin and GABA because those will be depleted after you stop drinking. And I will just go through that list of things you can do again. Get adequate sleep, eat more high protein, listen to music. We actually didn't talk about that, but listening to music is a natural way you can increase your dopamine. So that's a fantastic one. Practice meditation and mindfulness. Treat yourself to a massage or just physical touch. Cut down on sugar. Increase your magnesium intake, ensure you're getting vitamin B6, drink green tea, and get out in sunlight and nature. All right, so just for today, practice not drinking. Keep going. You've made it through the hardest part. You've made it through most of the physical withdrawal. So congratulations. Keep going. Keep practicing. Would love to hear from you. You can email me at deb@alcoholtippingpoint.com, and I will be back with you tomorrow for day 4. Hey everyone, thank you so much for listening to this episode of the Alcohol Tipping Point. I'm always here for you guys, so please feel free to reach out and talk to me on Instagram at Alcohol Tipping Point, and check out my website, alcoholtippingpoint.com. Again, I hope you can use these tips we talked about for the rest of your week. And until then, see you next time.